Hey everybody, welcome back to Ostronomy TV. John Ostronomy here. It is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Headline number one, the CBGB Festival is going to take place on September 27th in Brooklyn, New York at a venue called Under the K Bridge Park. It's an outdoor thing. It's going to feature Iggy Pop, The Dam, The Sex Pistols, Jack White, Marky, Ramone, a lot of great acts. Presented in partnership with the Bowery Presents, a promoter I've worked with here in New York, tickets for the event go on sale publicly on Friday, but there's a pre-sale on Thursday, and you can check it all out on CBGBfest.com. I played CBGBs with my band Cherry Red way back in the 90s, and the cool thing about that gig was some of the guys from Slab were there to see us. That's one of my favorite bands. Another time, I took Linde Lindstrom and Gas Lipstick from him there right before the club closed. We had a great time. Headline number two, Tobias Forge of my favorite band Ghost told Rolling Stone Germany that he doesn't have a problem with the Christian religion. In fact, he and his mom went to a lot of churches back when he was a kid, but more as a cultural thing, to check them out like you check out a museum. I think what rubbed Tobias the wrong way was the fact that a lot of people who pretended to be all holy, including one of his school teachers, weren't very nice at all. Being a Catholic myself, I don't think being a Ghost fan makes me a devil worshiper. I love the Ghost lore, and I think it's all in good fun. One of the things I learned this week from watching a few clips on YouTube is that Tobias actually pronounces his name Tobias Forge, but he just goes with Tobias Forge because it's easier here in the United States for Americans to pronounce it that way. I almost forgot. Check out this cool picture of Tobias as Papa Emeritus 2 and me at an event down in Texas way back in 2015. Headline number three, Chris Adler, former drummer of Lamb of God, recently did an interview with Loaded Radio, and he talked a little bit about his departure from the band. Around that time, Chris was battling a condition he contracted called musician's focal dystonia, which affects the muscles in a negative way, especially when you're doing something repetitive like playing drums. So that tells us a little bit more about how hard it was for Chris at that time. When asked if he'd ever consider rejoining Lamb of God, Chris said he doesn't think it would be a good idea because it would be similar to remarrying an ex-wife who you kind of still had some feelings for. Mark Strigl and I interviewed Chris a couple of times, once at an Ozfest here on the East Coast and the other time way out in California on a tour bus. Chris told us he was one of the very first Talking Metal listeners, and I think he'd be a great guest on my upcoming show, Cooking Metal. Well, that's going to do it for today. Once again, I'd like to thank blabbermouth.net, one of my favorite websites, for inspiring all three of today's headlines. And we'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.